Okay, so it says we're recording. So to start with, open up by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh,
Yahweh, Bahashem,
Bahashem, Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh,
Bahashem,
Bahashem,
Ruach.
Bashakabash.
Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, who taught us this truth. And shalom to the 144,000 elect men of the nation of Israel and the rest of the elect that are destined to be saved. I'm the brother Caleb from the GMS UK London Forecasters Camp, and I'm joined by the brother I'm the Wa'ala. And we're back to do another lesson together through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, it's edifying and of benefit to those of the hopeful elect who may be watching, listening, and learning. So, do you have the article to show on your screen?
Khan. Here it
Just
is.
gonna do a quick article. This is one that I saw earlier this afternoon or earlier this evening. It says from Sky News in the UK. It says teenager guilty of murdering Kamari Johnson in row over stolen moped. Now, I thought this is a very interesting article to do a lesson on, because it shows a lot of areas where the Holy Scriptures give us wisdom and advice on how to conduct ourselves in certain situations in life. And there's a good few scriptures that were clearly violated in this incident, and it resulted in this boy on the screen here losing his life. Now, this is a product of a larger problem. The larger problem being is that a lot of Jake families are broken. And by broken, I mean that the father figure isn't often on the scene. And if he is on the scene, his role in his child's life is often minimized or diminished to the point of having no real effect on the child by the mother. And these mothers think that they can do bad all by themselves and that they can raise these young boys to be young men all alone without any positive role models and without any discipline, and it's failing them every time. You know, how many times have we heard of Jake getting stabbed to death in the street, or Jake just getting involved in all kind of madness because he doesn't have any strong father figure in his life, and it's just the mother running the roost. And then when the child ends up dead, they want to start crying and they start saying, "Oh, he was such a good boy. He was an angel. He wouldn't do this. He wouldn't do that." Where little did they know that their child was actually a little gremlin running around in the streets doing all kind of madness. So this is an example of that. And here you've got the photograph of the young Jake that died. Again, an unassuming person would think, "Oh, what a tragedy, what a poor soul." But in the eyes of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, this child was not innocent. And the scriptures in Job 4 and verse 7, we can get it. Job 4 and verse 7 says, you just pull it up here. Bear me a second. Job 4 and verse 7 says, "Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off?" So when it comes to the Most High's judgment, his judgment is perfect. And again, said it in other lessons, but we'll say it in this one. The Most High is judging us not just on the sins we've done in this lifetime right here. He's judging us on all the sins we've done in lifetimes past. So there may be a transgression that I may have done, or this person may have done, from 5 lifetimes ago, and the Most High is yet to bring judgment upon it. But yet all of a sudden, bam, in an instant, you can find yourself reaping the judgment for what it is he done. So that's why we've always got to fear the Heavenly Father in all things. Yeah, go ahead and chime in if you've got anything to say.
Khan, this is Ecclesiastes 3 and verse 15. It says, "That which have been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and the Most High requireth that which is past." All right. So as you was getting into, it's not necessarily that you've gone off in this lifetime. It could have been from a lifetime that we had many moons ago, that the Lord can decide that, okay, in this lifetime I'm going to judge you for that. because you've got a lot of people that, you know, they pretty much were, you know, and that's where the typical story of the Jake mother, you know, he was so nice, he wouldn't touch a fly, he was an aspiring scientist, and but then the scriptures tell you whoever perished being innocent. So I mean, if the Lord decided to call up his card at such a young age, then you know that obviously, you know, with that scripture being put into mind, Job 4:7, whoever perished being innocent, you know that you know this boy was you know engaging in some kind of wickedness, man. You got it.
Yeah. The story in itself speaks for itself, so we might as well just get into it.
It says teenager guilty of murdering Kamari Johnson in row over stolen moped. The 17-year-old killer, which cannot be named because of his age, stabbed his 16-year-old victim with a machete, estimated to be around 30 centimeters long, the Old Bailey heard.
So he got a knife.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the boy there. Again, that's the picture that the mother would be touting, like, oh, look at him, he's so innocent. You wouldn't hurt a fly. Listen, if you hear the story, this child was he needed discipline, man. So we'll get into it.
Come on. A 17-year-old boy has been found guilty of murdering a boy who he stabbed in broad daylight following a row over a stolen moped. And this is the thing, man. These days, the you know, the perpetrators of the attackers are getting younger, and even the attacks in itself are getting more blatant, man. You know, it was just, what was it, last week? I think the weeks are flying by so quick. You had the boy get stabbed up on a bus.
On a bus, yeah.
Daylight, man. And you've got this machete attack happening in Hayes. You know, also happening in broad daylight, man. So that calls for a quick scripture. I know we just started, but you know,
bring it out.
Strike while the iron's hot, right? Matthew 24:12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And that's what it is, man. You know, there used to be a time where, yeah, you know, you could be a quote unquote gangbanger, but you still have certain principles or a moral code that you live by. Like, you know, maybe, you know, you might hate an individual, but if you see his mom crossing the street with some shopping bags, and you know, you might help across the road. But I mean, boy, God forbid you see her son, you might send him to the spirit world, man. But now it's just anyone can get it anywhere, any time of the day. Repercussions we don't fear, you know. So that goes to, you know, that's a token of the times that we're living in, man. You know,
that's. May I just say something on that point?
Absolutely.
What you said about Jake at one time helping a mother across the street. There have been cases where Jake have murdered another Jake and then gone to the funeral and shot his mum.
Look at that.
You know, so there's nothing's off limits for these Jake anymore, and they're doing their attacks in broad daylight because they're not afraid of the repercussions. So you know the fear of the fear of the Most High isn't in these children, man, and that's why they're acting out and doing all kinds of madness. So you carry on.
Come on. Let me just get that on deck. The Old Bailey. Hold on. I think I read this bit. Did I read this bit? I'll just read it again anyway. The killer, who cannot be named because of his age, attacked 16 years old Kamari Johnson with a machete in Hayes, West London on 24th of May last year. The Old Bailey heard the pair met up after the defendant made contact over Snapchat about wanting to buy the moped from Kamari. The two haggled over the price, with Kamari wanting 180. Prosecutor Joel Smith KC said. However, when they met up, Kamari took the defendant's money and drove off, jurors were told. Mr. Smith said it seems that when they met, having taken the defendant's cash, Mr. Johnson went back on his side of the deal and simply rolled off. In short, he took the money and ran.
Right, hold it there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so what does that say about this young boy? He's a
You're
thief.
right. Yeah.
He's a thief. And what did the commandments say in Exodus 20? Let me just get it here. Exodus 20. Exodus 20 and verse 15. It says, "Thou shalt not steal." 10 commandments, man. Fundamentals, basics of the scriptures. Exodus 20 and verse 15. Thou shalt not steal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the fact that this child had a moped in the first place, if I'm not mistaken, it was stolen, right? So
Yeah.
he stole it and he was looking to flip it. So on the Snapchat now, this other guy sees it. He's like, "Yeah, I want to buy it off you." They agreed to £180. So then they met up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then he takes this Jake's money and drives off. What does that say about this young individual? He's clearly a thief.
Mm-hmm.
He's clearly not adhering to the scriptures. And what happens when you don't adhere to the scriptures?
Well, what does the scripture say? It says, "All those that hate me love death." You got it.
Yeah, yeah. And Proverbs 13, verse 13, "Whoso despiseth the word shall be destroyed."
That's right.
So he's stolen the bike, the moped, agreed to sell it, then stole the money from the Jake who he agreed to sell it to. So there's a pattern here, a pattern of bad behavior. So what's going to be the recompense for it? Is he going to be able to keep doing this forever? Or is the Most High going to pull his card? Let's read on and find out.
God. Mr. Smith said, "It seems that when they met." Oh, okay, no, I read that bit. The prosecutor said the defendant was left feeling pretty foolish, pretty embarrassed, and no doubt pretty angry.
But hold it there. So the person who got robbed of £180 when he went to buy the moped, it says he was left feeling pretty embarrassed, pretty, what did it say again?
Foolish and pretty angry.
Right, so those three things, embarrassed, foolish, and angry, right? A real man can deal with those emotions and not lose his head because he knows how to keep himself, his body under subjection. What is this? There's a scripture. He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down and without walls. Let me try and pull that one. Hang on. Wait me a second.
And that's true, man, because really part of being a man is, comes with discipline, being able to control your emotions, being able to think rationally. And that's something that you don't learn when you come up under Eve, which a lot of us fit that demographic of, being brought up in that single parent household, which oftentimes was our mothers, man. And what tends to happen is, you grow up with these feminine traits in a masculine body that you don't really deem feminine because at the same time, you've got friends around you with a similar kind of upbringing and you're all acting the same way, impulsive, acting up emotions and things of that nature. You got it.
Yeah, I've got two precepts here. Just pull them out. This is come on. Proverbs 25 and verse 28 says, "He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls." So that means that any kind of demon can come up to you and you're going to have no defense for it because you're like a city that's without walls. So when these demons come to you and they start whispering in your ears these negative thoughts, or things to do, Jake, he's got no defense against it. So them thoughts are going to infiltrate his mind and then he's going to act out and do some wayward shit. Now, there's another precept I want to bring out, which is Proverbs 13 and verse 10. And it says, "Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well-advised is wisdom." So that guy, that the one who got robbed, his pride kicked in, and he wanted to get his lick back. You see,
Mm-hmm.
now this is the thing: if he had been brought up by a father, maybe he'd have been able to process the information better and not make such a bad, rash decision just to try and salvage his pride. See, because that's what being a man is really about. A lot of times in this life, we've got to take the L's. We don't want them, but sometimes we have to take the L's and learn from them rather than getting in our feelings and in our emotions and acting out and doing some crazy shit.
Mm.
Now, so this is a failing on both of these boys' parents, right? And I'm just gonna put it out there. I bet they're both raised by their mothers.
Absolutely.
And this is what you got going on because both these young men are not they're not men. They've not been brought up to be men. They're effeminate in all of their ways, but just in a male body. You know, they're doing what a woman would do. You know, getting all in the emotions and acting out and doing foolish shit. And this is why the scriptures are so important because this is our wisdom. You know, this is what helps us to this is what helps us to make the right decisions which are beneficial to our lives. Now,
Right.
there's another precept. So I'm bringing out a lot here. Bear me a second.
Bring it up.
Proverbs 11:1, which is what I titled this lesson after, says, "A false balance is an abomination unto Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight." So the one who had the moped dealt a false balance. He agreed to do something, right? Yeah, I'll sell it to you for 180. The scriptures say, "Let your yea be yea and your nay be nay." But he
Mm.
turned around on the deal and stole the guy's money and thought he could get away with it. So the Most High had enough of his bullshit. Let's read on and see what happens next. Unless you got any precepts or anything you want to say.
Yeah, I got a quick precept. This is Romans chapter 12. And excuse me, my internet's been a bit slow. Romans 12 and 19. It said, well, really? Wow. Really? We can start 17. Romans 12 and 17. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. So this is how you know that, you know, the world ain't coming out of these scriptures, man, because the scriptures teach one thing, but when you see the actions of those individuals in the world, it's another thing. All right. It literally says recompense to no man evil for evil, man. So yeah, he might have robbed you for your whatever money, but end of the day, you know, we're instructed not to recompense evil for evil. All right. You know, the Lord will be the one to, you know, make things right when the time is right for him. All right. In verse 18, it says, if it be possible, as much as life in you, live peaceable among men. All right. Live peaceable with all men. All right. So as much as possible as we can, we're to try and embody this. All right, it's not about, you know, everywhere you go, you got as they like to say, ops. You know, verse 19, the point, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine,
I will repay.
repay, saith the Lord. All right, so it's not about us trying to, you know, as Jake would say, get your lick back. You know, we'll let things be done decently and in order. The one who needs to get their lick back first is Yahweh Shai, man. He's been waiting for over 2,000 years. So, you know, we got to remember that, man. Yahweh Shai is lick back first and then us. All right. You got it.
Khan, very good precept you brought out there, right on point as well.
One, man. All for the spirit. Right. So, getting back to the article, it says, He told jurors, but whatever Mr. Johnson had done, you may feel he didn't deserve what happened next. Minutes later, the 17-year-old walked to Kamari's house to confront him and get the bike, the court heard. Mr. Smith said he knew where Mr. Johnson lived, and he went there looking for him. And when he found him, he stabbed him. He stabbed him once through the chest and into his heart. And although Mr. Johnson managed to flee on the moped, he collapsed minutes later and died on the street. CCTV footage played to jurors showed the defendant turning into the victim's road. About 20 seconds later, Kamari was seen driving out of the road on the black moped as the defendants chased after him, carrying a large knife with a curved blade. A witness described seeing the 17-year-old carrying a blood-stained knife he estimated to be about 30 centimeters long, the prosecutor said. Further CCTV, sorry, did you want to say something?
Yeah. Now the scriptures are beautiful, man, because it gives guidance on all types of situations. In the scriptures, if someone has stolen from you, there's laws in place to deal with a thief. Now, I think I might have some of these on deck. Let me see. Did I pull them up? Yeah, this is Exodus 22 and verse 1. If a man steal an ox or a sheep and kill it or sell it, he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep. Right? Let me jump down another precept. Leviticus 19 and 11 says, ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie to one another. Yeah? Deuteronomy 5 and 19 says the same, neither shalt thou steal. So my point is this, right? In a righteous kingdom, this situation could have been dealt with so much better or so much more efficiently. You know, the Jake that got robbed of his £180, in a righteous kingdom, he wouldn't have needed to have given place to wrath. You know, he could have gone, you know, and spoken to, you know, the elders and said, look, this guy defrauded me. He stole £180, and that Jake would have had to recompense him for what he stole and pay back, I think, is it double or whatever, depending on what it was. But the point is that there'd be laws in place to deal with situations like that, so that the Jake wouldn't have felt like he needed to get street justice and take things into his own hands. You see, because that's what Jake in this society does. They think that they have to they can't let anything go, they can't let anything slide, and they're looking to get revenge their own way, which usually is carnal, which, you know, unfortunately leads to situations like this where someone died over £180. Was it worth it?
Because that's the problem with Jake. They don't think before they act. They act before they think. So they do these things, and then afterwards they say, "Oh, you know what? Maybe that wasn't the best, you know, move on the chessboard." But by then it's too late, and then they've got to deal with the repercussions that come with their actions.
Yep. And they think that I don't know if video games have something to do with this as well, but Jake seems to be ignorant of consequences, man. Like they're playing a video game, and like, okay, in a video game you lose your life, you die, and you respawn and you try again. That ain't how this real life works. You know what I'm saying? That Jake that's dead, he's up in the spiritual realm now, chilling with the Most High. He'll come back in his lot in 3 or 4 generations, and the Jake that murdered him is going to spend the majority of his life in prison now over what, £180. It's ridiculous. See, Jake's got no sense of perspective, man.
I've got a precept on that. Hosea 4 and 6 says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children. So yeah, pretty much the Lord is forgotten about 2/3 of his people because as it said, that my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, man. All right, these Jakes don't know who the Heavenly Father is, the name of his only begotten Son. They don't know any of these things, man. All right, so that's why you have because nigger culture is basically just destructive culture. It's just a culture where Jake just destroyed Jake, whether that be directly or indirectly, man. All
Yeah,
right.
that's right. It's self-destructive, and it doesn't lead to life. You read it before. All they that hate me love death.
Mm.
So that's all this culture leads to, man. And that's why we need Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai and this truth to guide us out of these um silly situations that can occur in any day of the week. You know. So let's read on. Oh, hang on. There's one more. I've got Proverbs 6 and verse 30. It says, "Men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry." That Jake wasn't doing that to satisfy his soul when he was hungry. He was just doing it because he thought he could get away with it and make a quick buck.
That's
It's
right.
not like he went into Tesco and stole, a loaf of bread or a box of cereal to eat because he's starving. No, he was 14. He's living with his mum. It's ridiculous the level of drama that Jake get into. Again, trying to emulate what they see in TV and shit like that. It's just bullshit drama, man. Anyway, let's read on unless you've got something to say. You all right there?
Slovakia. Excuse me, man.
I said, let's read on unless you've got something to say.
No. Sorry, man. I was just aware of the fairies there, man. Where was I? All right, cool. So we read that CCTV played to jurors showed the defendant turning into the victim's road. About 20 seconds later, Kamari was seen driving out of the road on the black moped as the defendant chased him, carrying a large knife with a curved blade. A witness seen the 17-year-old carrying a bloodstained knife said he estimated to be about 30 centimeters long, the prosecutor said. Further CCTV video played in court showed Kamari crashing the moped in a nearby pub car park and then collapsing. In police interviews, the killer declined to answer questions, but claimed in a statement that he acted in self-defense at all times. The youth made no reaction, and Kamari's family members wept in court as the jury announced its verdict after deliberating for 13 hours and 35 minutes. The youth was also found guilty of having an article with a blade or point. Detective Chief Inspector Alex Gamampilla from Metropolitan Police said this was a senseless killing which took place out in the open. Members of the public rushed to Kamari's aid but were unable to save him. And you know what? That's exactly what it is. It's a senseless killing, man. I've actually, there's particular pages that I follow on social media or that I know of. And, I actually witnessed some of these killings that Jake be engaging in. And when I tell you it's completely senseless, man. Like 1 minute, boss man is putting 6 wings and chips in a box. Next thing you know, he's trying to find the panic alarm because this Jake done ran into his. But forget the Jake burst into his shop. The Jake damn near exploded into his shop. Right? He ain't hopped over anything since sports day in secondary school when he's doing it. But he will hop that. We will hop that what you call it, man? You know, that bollard, that barrier that they have like in the chicken shop, as high as it is, he will hop that clean to hide behind some fried wings whilst he's got knives being pointed in his face, man.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it's senseless as hell, man. And it happens so quick, and it's just so like, you know, by the time it's done, it's like, what even just happened? You know?
Yeah, they don't think. You know, a wise man will consider his actions before he takes them, whereas an unwise person will act and then try and think later. But by then, it's too late, man. You know, it doesn't take much to put a spirit in the spiritual realm. You know, Jake's walking around thinking like they've got some invincibility code or something, but nah,
Yeah.
man. You know, just like that, the Most High can bring your judgment, and you can be before the throne of the Most High, wondering what the hell just happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there any more on this article, or are we at the end of it?
Just a little bit more. Just this bit.
Can't.
It says, in the absence of a murder weapon, CCTV evidence crucial proved crucial in convicting the killer. Residents around the scene of this crime were encouraged to upload footage from their own cameras to an online portal. From this, investigators were able to reconstruct the killer's movements on the day. He added, "My thoughts are with Kamari's loved ones who have suffered an unimaginable loss. I pay tribute to the members of the public who came to Kamari's aid as he lay dying, and to those who assisted with the investigation. The defendant is due to be sentenced on Friday, the 14th of March."
Right, can't. So there you have it. Now, this is two lives that have been ruined, all because they didn't respect the Ten Commandments. You know, we're not even getting into the deep stuff of the law, because there's 630 laws in the Bible, but the
Mm,
most basic and fundamental, can be broken down into the 10. Now, if these Jakes had been taught the Ten Commandments and the fear of the Lord from an early age, this whole situation wouldn't have played out the way it played out, because they wouldn't have been stealing in the first place. Then they wouldn't be killing either, because in the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not kill, Exodus 20 and Exodus 20 and 13 says, "Thou shalt not kill," and a few
mhm.
verses down at 20 verse 15, it says, "Thou shalt not steal." And
That's
again, this all plays into the curses, because the scriptures say that our eyes shall be evil towards our brethren, and this is why our communities are destroyed, because Jake's too busy eyeballing what his neighbor's got and thinking about coveting that, and defrauding his neighbor and dealing ill with his neighbor. Now, let me just say one more thing before I hand it over to you, right? Back in the ancient world, a man's reputation was everything. Like, if you and I made a deal, let's say I said I'm going to sell you some sheep for £200, right?
mm,
And you said to me, "Okay, we'll do the deal," and we shook on it. And then when the time came, I only gave you 100, but I took all your money. I'd have defrauded you. So then
yeah.
you go to other men and say, "Look, man, this guy doesn't deal fairly." So then all the other men would be like, "You know what, man? You're a fraud. You're a cheater. You're a thief. I'm not dealing with you." And your reputation would be through. Back in the ancient world, reputation was everything. But
Mm,
in this world, nobody's thinking about their reputation in terms of being honest and upright and hardworking and sincere. Everybody wants a reputation for being a bad man, a thug, and a criminal.
calm.
It's all upside down, man. And those aren't the things which make a reputable man a reputable man. So these young Jacob got it all twisted upside down and backwards. And again, it comes down to not having the proper male role models in their lives. And even if they don't have a father, their role models should really still be coming from the scriptures, but they ain't. Their role models are coming from the world, so therefore they're following after worldly people trying to do worldly things, and look where it gets them. You're not enough again there, aren't you?
Excuse
Can you back
me.
this one up? I can see you
Yeah.
nodding off again. We'll wrap this up. Have you got any other precepts to add?
This is Ephesians 5, and yeah, excuse me on that, man, but
That's all right, man. You've been
yes, that
working hard.
was at a certain time of the night, man. This is
Yeah,
Ephesians 5 and 15. It says, "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." And we see that very clearly, man. We see that the days are evil. Look at everything that's going on around the world, man. This ain't the time to just be, kicking back with ice cream and whatnot. The scriptures say to seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. That's Isaiah 55 and 6. The scriptures also say in Ecclesiastes 12 to remember that thy creator in the days of thy youth while the evil days come not. So ultimately, if we don't want to end up perishing like these Israelites that don't know the truth, then now is the time where we have to seek the Lord 10 times more, man. Because as we quoted earlier, the scriptures say all those that hate me love death. So if we're showing the Lord that we hate him and we ain't for him, then there's a very high chance that we can end up like this individual over here. And
exactly.
we don't want that, man. Ultimately, laboring in this truth, we didn't just come this far to come this far. We want to see, the end. We want to see, the kingdom of heaven, being established from the beginning. Anything else you
Yeah.
want to
No. You said it. You said it all well, man. You summed it up very, very nicely. So yeah, man. At the end of the day, this proves the beauty of the scriptures and the beauty of the law, and we should be grateful that we're blessed to be Israelites, because the other nations weren't given these laws, statutes, and commandments. The wisdom, we were given it. That's why
add?
it's such a shame to see the holy people acting like such degenerates. But the time is coming where it's all going to be flipped upside down, and the other nations will actually see, what a holy and righteous and a people close to the Most High we actually are, and they're going to give reverence unto us. So the times of us being at the bottom of society, you know, frontlining these bullshit headlines is soon coming to an end.
That's
Lord
right.
willing.
Fine.
Right.
Just one more precept, if I may.
Go ahead.
This is Matthew 13 and verse 16. It says, "But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them." So you've actually got people out here that genuinely want to understand the truth, genuinely are laboring to find the truth, and know the true name of the Heavenly Father, his only begotten Son, his will. But because they're just not of the elect, they can't obtain that knowledge, man. But then you've got us who, like, yeah, we might have had that zeal, but not according to knowledge. But before we came into this truth, like, we had our own separate goals and aspirations. Maybe we wanted to be footballers, musicians, or artists, or you name it, man. But we're the ones that the Lord has appointed this gift, the gift of faith, the gift of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, the ability to have the eyesight to see these things, the ability to look at these articles and look at things happening around the world and be able to filter that through the scriptures, man. That's
Yeah.
that's a superpower that really only the elect have, and that's a blessing, man.
Yes, it is. That's why we've got to be grateful for it and give thanks to the Lord all the time that our eyes have been blessed to be able to see and hear these words. Because otherwise we'd be stuck in the same um stuck in the same place that these Jake in the world are without a hope.
Well, that's why John the Revelator, that's why he wept. in Revelation 5, man, because there was no man worthy to loose the seals of the book. But you know, there did turn out to be one man worthy, and that was Yahweh Shai, you know, who
Yeah,
the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, man. But I mean, if it weren't for Yahweh Shai, you know, we'd be walking around in this dead state, you know, permanently, man. You know?
yeah. I've got one more precept. Let me get it, and then we'll close out.
Can't.
This sums it up perfectly. This is Proverbs 21:16. It says, "The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead."
Mm.
So these people of the world, they're in a dead state, man. And we've got to fight to maintain and retain our wisdom, knowledge, and understanding so that we don't end up also becoming part of the congregation of the dead. So that's why it's so important to apply precepts in your life. See, this is the thing. When it comes to the 10 Commandments, you know, you can ask a Christian, oh yeah, the 10 Commandments, yeah. 10 Commandments, yeah. But the question is, how much are they actually applying them in their everyday life? You know, if they were applying them, shit like this wouldn't have happened. That's all I've got to say on this one. So unless you've got anything else.
That's it from me as well, man. That's it from me.
All right, then we'll wrap it up here. So that was just a quick hit through the spirit. Lord willing, it was edifying to those who are watching of the hopeful elect and listening and learning. So once again, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh,
Yahweh, Bahashem,
Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Pakodash. Double honors once again unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, who taught us this truth according to the Holy Bible. And Lord willing, we'll catch you on the next lesson.
Lord willing.
All right, shalom for now.
Shalom.